Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're unpacking the new U.S.-Japan Critical Minerals and Rare Earths Agreement. This was just signed, right, by President Trump and Japan's new Prime Minister, Takaichi. And the timing here, well, seems pretty pointed. This lands just after China tightened its own rare earths export controls. Makes you think, right? And it's right before these big U.S.-China trade talks. What's the signal the White House is sending?
Yeah, the timing isn't subtle. It's signaling that these specific supply chains are now, fundamentally viewed as national security infrastructure. We're talking about the magnets in EVs, components for defense systems, that kind of thing. So this is really more than just a trade deal. It's a strategic framework. The goal is explicitly stated as resilience and security.
Resilience.
Yeah.
It needs some serious political buy-in. And Prime Minister Takaichi, she's Japan's first female leader, elected just this month, October 2025. And a protege wants a new golden age for the alliance. And get this detail. She nominated President Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize.
Right. That nomination really underscores how closely her administration wants to align with the U.S. Her whole approach seems to be about merging Japan's economic interests directly with its security strategy. It's a clear counter to China's growing influence and, frankly, its military buildup in the region.
And this political alignment, it sort of clicks into place with existing economic stuff, doesn't it? I remember that earlier trade deal, Japan committed, $550 billion in investments, big buys of U.S. agriculture, energy. That was in return for the U.S. lowering tariffs on Japanese cars, right? From 27.5% down to 15%?
Exactly. So there's already this massive economic foundation. Now they're directing that kind of financial muscle towards critical minerals. And the problem is stark. China processes somewhere between 80, maybe even 90% of the world's rare earths. That kind of dominance, well, it makes diversification less of a nice to have and more of a must do for security.
Okay, but people have talked about diversifying away from China before. Hasn't coordination like this, struggled? How is this new framework really different? Is it just more money?
It's about how the money works. This framework tackles the financing problem directly. It mandates coordinated investment using really every tool they have: grants, loans, equity stakes. And crucially, these things called offtake arrangements, basically long-term purchase guarantees. The idea is to jointly pick and fund projects that fill the gaps, mining, separation, making the actual permanent magnets.
Okay, drill down on those purchase guarantees, the offtake arrangements. What are they exactly? How do they help?
Think of them as guaranteed buyers. A new mine or processing plant is risky, right? Hard to get loans if you don't know who will buy your product long term. Offtake agreements lock in those future sales, usually with government backing, making the whole project much less risky for private investors and lenders. It's a direct lesson from 2010, when China squeezed Japan on rare earths. That showed everyone the danger of relying on one source.
That 2010 crisis, that really woke people up, didn't it?
Yeah, it certainly did. It spurred some earlier efforts, like Japan's state-backed firm, JOEM. They helped finance Lynas in Australia, which is now, a key non-Chinese rare earth producer. This new deal basically formalizes and scales up that kind of allied cooperation. It's part of a bigger U.S. push, too, like that recent $3 billion pact with Australia.
So, zooming out, the big picture seems clear. The goal is to build these alternative supply chains, diversified, transparent, fair markets for critical minerals, totally outside China's control.
Exactly, which brings us to the real question for you, the listener. Historically, the big hurdle for non-Chinese projects wasn't finding the minerals, it was the money. Markets were opaque, risks were high, private financing was scarce. Now, this framework sets up the mechanisms, like this U.S.-Japan Critical Mineral Supply Security Rapid Response Group. Sounds impressive. But the fundamental question remains, can this kind of government-backed investment, especially these aggressive offtake deals, finally overcome those long-standing economic hurdles? Can they actually create profitable, enduring non-Chinese supply chains? That's really what you need to watch going forward.